Welcome back. Far from politics, far from the new or the 45th President of the United States, we are going to speak about a very important topic. Our self-image, our inner concept. How do we see ourselves? We do have a lot of challenges facing us daily. And our self-image can help us a lot if we know well how to see ourselves right, to know what are our weak points and what are our points of strength. We are going to speak in detail about an expert who is going to tell us more about this. We are very much delighted to have our dear guest live here in the studio, Dr. Samah Khamis, Egypt's ambassador of peace and life coach. A very good morning to you, ma'am.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, Dr. Khamis. And let's first talk about self-image, which is one of the top priorities of any motivation to be able to start a career with. Self-image is something that is a double weapon. It could make me or break me. Lots of people would like to understand it. How could that work?
Actually, self-image starts off from the very early age. It is like the way we receive people's perception of us. So this is how it starts from the very early childhood, and it starts from external factors basically. The first thing that happens is that we see others treating us in a certain way. We hear certain comments said about us, and from that we get to form a certain self-image about ourselves. So we get to feel, for example, through the eyes of others, we get to feel that we are good people or maybe bad, we are obnoxious or we are accepted. So it depends, basically in childhood, it depends on the way others see us and the comments that we receive from them about us. This is how it starts as a primary factor.
Mm-hmm. But how it's formed? I mean, it's genetic. Part of it is genetic, for example. It's how a mother will raise her child. Is it the circumstances around us, whether at home or at school or or in the club, dealing with people, and to what extent the environment around us can help or can unfortunately worsen the way we are looking to ourselves?
Well, self-image has two components, two major factors that actually form the self-image. One is the external factor, which is through, as you said, my family, my neighbors, friends, and so on. And the other factor is the inner factor. And the inner factor, which is the way I see myself later on, and my own experiences, what they tell me about myself, this can happen actually at a later age, for example, adulthood, or the more I understand more about myself, the more I can develop my own self-image separated from the way others see me, and that requires some kind of awareness and maturity. So the first factor is the external factor. So in childhood, again, the way I see myself totally depends on what I hear others say about me, what I see in their eyes when they look at me. Do I see them like they're happy to see me, or are they, like upset, or they are annoyed? Whatever the impression I get from others is actually the impression I start forming about myself. And that's a very important point. If parents know that, if teachers know that, then definitely it will change the way they behave and act.
Yeah.
Tell me, doctor, how am I supposed to be able to boost the self-image or help improve the self-image or correct the self-image or build a solid self-image inside a kid or a youngster, and to be able to, he could carry on with himself in a better way?
Well, the first thing is as a parent or a teacher, I need to know that there is a difference between the person and the behavior. What usually the trap that we all fall into is that we tend to label the person through his actions. So for example, if I have a kid who came and told me that, for example, Mom, I stole some money from my friend, then immediately I'll tell him that you're a thief. When actually that is not the right thing to do at all. I should tell him that what you did was wrong. The behavior is bad, but you are a good person. So I separate the person from the behavior. So that's the very first thing I have to do. So I'll tell him that what you did is called theft, or it is bad to steal from others. But you know what? You're a good kid. I know that deep inside you, you have a good heart. And the proof of this is that you came and you told me about it, for example. So separating the person from the behavior is the very first thing I should do. Another thing, for example, when a teacher spots one of her students cheating. Instead of calling him, you're a cheater, I can simply tell him what you did is unacceptable, and yes, you will be penalized for that, but still you are not a bad student. I know that you can do better, for example. So this is how the self-image will be positively formed. So the person will then start understanding that I can separate myself from the behavior. So even though I have done lots of mistakes in the past, these mistakes do not label me. I'm still a good person. I can still improve myself.
Then I may say that a good self-image, meaning self-confidence.
A good self-image, yes, leads to self-confidence, definitely.
Which leads to which?
No, the self-image is the first thing that happens. This is how I see myself. This is, you know, the magic box I carry within me. And when I open the box and I look inside it, and then I see that there are lots of, you know, I've received lots of good comments, I have been treated very well by others, then this will lead to good self-image and therefore a good self-confidence. So this is how it all starts. It's a loop. And we need to know how it starts. So it starts from the very early age.
You know why I'm asking this question, ma'am? Because there are many vicious circles here. For example, a shy person, being shy may be interpreted as being arrogant. Being self-confident, it may also be interpreted as arrogant. Not to be able to express yourself, this means that you are that shy and you cannot fulfill your job, for example, if you are to deal with people. These are vicious circles. How to cut this vicious circle and to move from failure to success?
Here comes the role of life coaching, and this is why it is very important that when you feel that you have fallen into this trap and this vicious circle, that you need help. And there's nothing wrong with, you know, seeking help. So what happens is that when you're having a life coach, or let's say, for example, if you want to be independent, then you can actually search the net, you can read some books, self-help books. And you'll find out that most pieces of advice that you will receive will tell you that you are not what people see you. So people may have labeled you because they follow certain pattern of thinking or the way they were raised, led them to labeling you in a certain way and form. But that does not necessarily mean that this is who you are. So then he will ask himself, so how do I know who I really am? We can then help him recall certain incidents or certain experiences that he has gone through. Like, for example, we all have success stories as much as we have some, you know, upsetting stories. So we can stress on the stories of success, the stories that we have seen ourselves doing really well. And from that, we get to understand that we can reshape. Something else, in some cases, some severe cases, we can find people who are not even capable of remembering, you know, such good stories about themselves that would actually change their patterns. So in this case, I would ask them to do something very strange, which is to visualize. They can actually imagine themselves in the future behaving in a different way. Or they could actually recall a person that they admire so much, that they think is really a good person in the field, let's say, for example, in the work field. And guess what? In the NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, which is a science, it is based on the idea that you can reprogram. It's called neuro-linguistic programming. So it is reprogramming of the subconscious mind. And the way we do that is by, for example, one of the ways is you can recall a certain person who is really, really very good at something that you're not that good at, and you start examining that person, how he talks, how he walks, what he says, and you can actually start imitating that person somehow. And for example, this is why we've got detailed descriptions of certain heroic figures or religious figures or prophets. And one of the reasons we have that is so that we can have this model that we can actually follow. And once you start imitating that person for some time, guess what happens? The subconscious mind starts believing the input that you've been, you know, feeding the subconscious mind with, and at a certain point, you will start behaving and acting automatically in certain ways like that person whenever needed. You'll find yourself doing that.
Like Dr. Khamis, nowadays there are certain situations that would need explanations for some people. Like, for example, if you are a person with good qualities, with good capabilities and a good caliber, but at the same time you're always mostly misunderstood by some factions of people or received in a wrong way. You don't know the reason. No matter how you work on yourself and you're working hard and trying to understand the surroundings, but you fail entirely to deliver. So where are the reasons, or how can you find out or check the reasons that could, from where you can try to sort out the problem? This is one thing. On the other hand, you can see some people that are not working very hard on themselves, but they are received well with other people. So how do you explain situations like that?
Well, the very first thing we need to do is we need to understand that our peace of mind, our happiness, our self-confidence, they all come from within, not from without. So if your question, for example, about how others perceive us and if they misunderstood us, what can we do about that? Then your focus is on others, on external factors. I cannot say that we are just living in an island that is completely isolated from others. We are actually social beings. We do care about how others receive us and deal with us. That's true. But this should not come as a priority. What should come as a priority is the way I see myself, the way I perceive myself. Not in an arrogant way, but actually with a perception that is rational, that is objective. I would see myself both as a person who is capable of doing very good things, and at times that I've failed. I would then see these moments of failure as feedback. They would actually help me improve in a different way. So again, the idea of me focusing on others, that means that I still see the external factors as the main source of my self-image. And therefore, I will always seek their approval. I'll always seek that they like me. And this would never be entirely. No one has ever agreed on one person as being a good person or that is being loved by all people. It would never happen. So you're actually running after something that is unachievable. Whereas what is really achievable is me, my self-acceptance. I have to accept myself with both my weaknesses and my points of strength. And then people will feel that you are at ease with yourself, that you are at peace with yourself. And you'll be a magnet, that you'll be attracting the people who would actually, that you need positively in your life. And those who do not like you or detest you, they will be repelled. Like your magnet, your vibes, your energy vibe does not really attract those kind of people. So if they are being repelled from you, they are just moving away from your life, that in itself is a blessing. That is a good thing that you have to thank God for, because He does not want these people to be part of your life. So once you have this self-acceptance, automatically you'll be becoming a magnet of people who are very much similar to your energy vibes, to the way of your behavior and your way of thinking, and you'll be repelling and pushing away whoever does not fit you. So in this case, if you find those kind of people, you'll be happy, because then this means they do not fit into my circle.
Utopia.
Not really. Utopia is a different thing, because utopia is like you're after something that is 100% perfect, which is not really, of course, it cannot happen. So, but what I'm saying is something that is practical, and it can actually be achieved by practice. It can.
By practice.
Yes, you have to practice accepting yourself. Because, and one way of doing this is that you need to be aware of how you feel. Like, for example, if I come...
But there is a very, very fine thread between accepting myself as is and between trying to work on myself to avoid the defects I have in my character. How to make the equation, I mean.
Self-acceptance does not mean that I like both my drawbacks and my strengths. Self-acceptance means that I have seen both. I have seen my weaknesses and I've seen my strength, and I accept both. I accept that I have those points of weaknesses. When you accept your weaknesses, you'll be able to change them. You'll be able to improve them. If you reject them, if you don't want to see them, if you deny them because they hurt you, then most probably you will not be able to actually modify yourself in these points. So self-acceptance is the key to self-improvement. And by acceptance, again, I do not mean that I'm happy with the way I am if I did something bad. It does not mean that at all. But okay, fine. And then I have this point of weakness. For example, if I'm jealous of others, for example. All right, so I have to be aware of this. I have to see it first so that I can change it. And then I'll start asking myself, so why did I behave this way? What is jealousy? Does that mean that I lack things that others have? So how can I actually work on that? And so on and so forth. So once you accept the weakness, you will start working on it to change it, which is so important.
Right.
Dr. Samah Khamis, our life coach of this episode of our breakfast show. Thank you very much for your
Thank you.
input, ma'am. Have a very good day.
Thank you.
And thank you
too.
for
Thank
coming. And this is where we end this edition of the Breakfast Show. Many thanks to Nirmeen Abdurrahman. My name is
Thank you very much, Dina.
same here.
And this is my dear colleague Dina Hussein. Tomorrow is another day with another crew. Stay tuned only on Mad TV International always for more. And for more details, please log on to www.madinternational.net. Thanks for watching.